If you see a shooting star, that means that the gods are looking down at you right now. So you have to make a wish to capitalize on that.
The shooting stars are pretty rare. If you don't see a shooting star, the gods are just never watching you. It's just free reign to do whatever the hell you want.
Superstition is a belief or practice resulting from ignorance, fear of the unknown, trust in magic or chance, or a false conception of causation. Greeks believed that one reflection on the surface of a pool or water revealed one's soul. Origin of the superstition being that breaking a mirror is akin to like fracturing your soul. 2017 survey of almost 6 million clovers found the frequency of four-leaf clovers to be 5,000 to 1. More formally, it used to be saying God bless you, but then those filthy liberals have taken the Christ out of everything, so.
May Lucifer smile upon you. To you live on my birthday. It's the 275th episode of Tennis Podcast. Thanks so much for being here with us today, dear listener. And I couldn't think of a more perfect birthday gift than to be joined by my sidekick host, Anna Keller.
Yay! Is that true? Is it your birthday?
The day that this comes out will be my birthday.
Oh my God,
yes.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
What do you want for your birthday besides me, my presents?
Your presents here. Well, I want your presents. Like gifts. Like
okay.
Physical presents.
Those are in the mail.
Okay, good. Good. How are you celebrating my birthday? Did you take the day off of work?
Yeah. Oh, I took the month.
You probably don't realize this because you're not looking. I didn't tell you what date this is coming out, but it's September 11th. So a lot of people are always like, oh, that's your birthday?
You're like, I was born before it happened.
I was.
Even if I was born after. No relation.
Yeah.
Like you can help it.
I can't tell you how many times I've told someone my birthday and they're like, oh,
they're
that's
like, aw. They're like, oh, thanks, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, it's been great. It's been a great time. We remember all those who perished in 9/11 as well as celebrate my birthday.
Birth and life. Birth and death.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, Anna, you asked what I want, and I said presents. But I think the number one thing you could gift me is a top 10 list for me to guess.
Oh, well. It's your lucky birthday because I do have a top 10 list for you. It just so happens. I know.
I wasn't prepared for that. All right, great.
Oh, it's crazy. Speaking of things like blowing out candles and making a wish, our top 10 list today is going to be most commonly believed superstitions.
I fucking love it.
Yeah?
Most commonly believed. This sounds like one I should have thought of by now.
I know. I was actually really surprised. Like every time I bring a list, I go to your episode list and I like scour it to make sure that I'm not repeating. And I was really surprised when I like searched superstitions and not much came up. I was like, okay, this is something I can hop on. This is a niche that needs to be filled.
Do you guys hear Buster and Alex? You guys listening? She went and looked at past episodes before bringing the list because there has been 2 separate occasions where they brought me a list I've already done.
I do my homework actually. Really educated, so I do homework. Yeah. So Nick, what's a superstition? Do you know what a superstition is?
It's a stition that
saves people. Yeah, see hero. Honestly. The stition we need, not the one we asked for right now.
Well, I'm trying to think if a superstition would be different than a myth. I think it would be, right? Because a superstition is like, it's something you believe will bring you good or bad fortune.
Yeah, there's sort of an overlap. Like, I would say there's definitely kind of a Venn diagram here. So according to Merriam-Webster, I'm going to sound like a 5th grader doing a book report for a second. Superstition is a belief or practice resulting from ignorance. I think that's funny. A fear of the unknown, trust in magic or chance, or a false conception of causation.
Sorry, but I like how magic was thrown in there.
It's just like, well, you may be dumb, or you could believe in magic, I guess.
Yeah, I know. Well,
but more generally, I would say it's like practices or beliefs based in the way we see like nature, the supernatural, God is involved in some of them, and how these things kind of affect our daily lives.
Okay. You said you were going to read that like a 5th grade doing a book report, and I tell you, I got a 5th grader. Didn't sound like that.
No.
But anyway.
I've evolved a little bit.
I think it's more like a 7th grader. The superstitions you pulled here, where do they come from?
So this is from a ranker list. So I used ranker, I think last time I brought a list as well. This one has over 100,000 votes total. So it's people like basically upvoting the superstition if they believe in it or they, kind of ascribe to it. But honestly, like some of these things are things that like I find myself doing, and it's not because I like believe in the superstition, it's just kind of ingrained in culture, I guess. So like it is kind of interesting to think about, and we'll kind of talk about that as we go into the specific ones. But like there is a real kind of gray area when it comes to the actual belief. And this is kind of strongly related to what I would call like a belief in luck, and just like how certain thoughts or actions can affect whether good or bad things happen to us, and like just kind of how that affects how we interact with the world, I guess. A study by Harris et al. In 2022 looked at over 20,000 people across various cultures and found that while demographics, so things like age, gender, education, are a very small factor in believing in luck, culture is a much larger factor. So kind of where we come from, and I think especially how things are passed down to us, affects that a lot. And this can do with things like countries that score lower on the Human Development Index correlating to like a higher belief in luck and precognition. But yeah, things like whether a culture is individualistic or collective. So like whether we put more value, and US is a very like individualistic society, but that like more collective stuff kind of, I think, also ties into how much we believe in like what we do affects the luck of how things happen to us.
Well, and I think you were getting at this point too, which is sometimes you are participating in a superstition not because you actually believe it, but almost like it's a tradition. It's been passed down. And I think this would fall under this. Maybe you'll disagree, but like saying "bless you" after someone sneezes.
Oh, you might want to hold on to that.
Okay,
you might want to put that in your little cross. Keep it.
I'll keep that handy. But I wanted to point at that as an example and say, like, how many of us do that?
It's just a thing that even if you're not super religious, you might say it. You might not say "God bless you" if you're super religious. And most people don't say "God bless you," but even though
I
that's
usually
kind of where
say
it comes
"Beelzebub bless." How do you say it?
Satan bestow his blessings upon you.
Lucifer, may Lucifer smile upon you. That's what I say.
Smile upon you. It's just a thing we should start our day off saying to the ones we love.
I mean, if we
have
care
a good day
about
at
them,
school, honey. May Lucifer smile upon you.
I'm gonna say that to my kids tomorrow and see what their reaction is.
They're like, whatever, Dad. You're so weird.
Really, yes.
I don't think they would react.
I say so much weird shit to my kids that they literally do not respond. I can't even
imagine.
It's so true. I say so much weird shit that they literally don't react anymore.
Doesn't even faze them anymore.
I called my kid a Chupacabra the other day, and they didn't even deny.
Did they know what a Chupacabra is, or were they just like, okay, it's another weird dad thing?
Well, I've definitely talked to them. I've sat them down, and I didn't talk to them about the birds and the bees. I talked to them about Chupacabra and
the
Bigfoot
Chupacabras and the Mothman.
Yeah, exactly.
When two Chupacabras love each other very much. And they're just like on their switches, like, all right, whatever.
I don't know why, but something about you saying two Chupacabras really tickled me.
Is that not how babies are made?
It is, but when you think, at least I don't, when you're thinking about cryptids and stuff, I'm usually just thinking about one bad one, right?
How?
You're never thinking about two of them getting together.
Cryptids get made.
You're right. I'm just saying, like, this was a blind spot in my brain.
There's a Bigfoot family with a small Bigfoot, foot out there.
Right. God damn. I mean,
they're not Bigfoots really until they hit puberty. I know.
Okay. All right. We can't promise, listener, we're done.
Okay. So we're here to talk about cryptids.
Cryptids, kind of adjacent to superstitions, I'd say.
Like just kind of weird things people believe, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So let's get rolling. Let's get this ball rolling. Yeah. So what do you think is on I have the top 1 through 20. But we're only going to be focusing on top 10. Obviously, it's 10-ish.
I'll have to double check the name of the show. I'm not sure if that's right, but I'll
top 20-ish.
Get back to you on that. Yeah. Well, I'm going to save the bless you one because I'm thinking that might be high. Okay. Instead, I'm going to go to one that's a little. Well, I'll just say it. It's walking under a ladder is considered bad luck.
That's a very good one. It's not on the top 20, but it was definitely one that is like I came across in my research and actually is kind of referenced in other superstitions as like a way to ward it off because it's bad luck.
If you were to take the last 30 seconds of what you said and filter it through like an AI bot to translate, it would say, Nick, that was a stupid fucking guess and it's not in the top 10. Are you an idiot? That's what that was.
Is that not what AIs are just programmed to tell you all the time?
Yeah. It is. Now that you mention it, I don't think I've ever talked to an AI.
Actually, anytime I try to use an AI, it's just like, Nick, you're an idiot. And I'm like, whoa, it's a little aggressive.
Yeah. AI and my mom both, am I right? Okay, so
that's where they got it. They're programmed off your mom. Machine learning.
We're fucking off the rails. Okay, I'm gonna
get back to a single one, man. All right.
Black cat is a bad luck.
That's a really good one too.
I guess it's not on the list, but is that just where the black cat walks up past you? Is that it?
It's when a black cat crosses your path. It's number 16.
Oh, okay. And I just gotta tell you, if the black cat crossed my path, I'd try to pet the sumbitch.
Right? Oh my god. That has like come up in a lot of like discussions on how black cats are not adopted as much because they have been seen as bad luck throughout history. So whenever I see a black cat, I make sure to give it special attention because I don't think they're bad luck. I think they're sweet.
Well, and in some cultures, I mean, it's probably less so now, but over the millennia, black cats have been targeted for all kinds of weird, creepy, dark magic shit.
Because they're seen as voodoo adjacent.
Yeah. But they're just little babies. All right, so no black kitties. What about breaking a mirror?
Breaking a mirror. You've cracked the top 10. Where do you think it is?
You mean I shattered?
You shattered?
I'm trying to do like a mirror
shattered the glass ceiling of this top 10 list.
Thank you. I'm going to guess it's kind of low. I'll say between 8 and 10.
It is 10. On the money. Good job. So this is thought, do you know how many years of bad luck it's thought to bring when you break a mirror?
7?
That's correct. Yes.
Oh, God. I'm
nailing
killing
it
on my birthday.
You're nailing
All right.
it. It's your birthday luck. This is going to become a very common theme as we talk about these superstitions. The origins of superstitions are always usually kind of murky, just because they usually come down through like oral history, and they often have like a lot of places they could have come from. So it's a bit, dicey to actually put a pin in where it came from, when it came from, all that kind of stuff. This one is a little bit more specific. We can trace this one as being pretty old, like between 2000 to 2700 years old, which is like, I didn't know mirrors were that old.
I was about to ask, like, when did mirrors become a thing?
Yeah. So they looked a little different when they were first kind of created. So
because
both
it was like a rock.
Basically.
They were like looking in a rock.
Yeah, we're just looking at a really shiny rock and you're like, I'm beautiful. But the ancient Greeks and the Roman Empire held beliefs about the power of reflected images. So there's kind of one of those is where it started, or kind of both of them. Greeks believed that one reflection on the surface of a pool or water revealed one's soul. And we can kind of link that back to the myth of Narcissus, who stared into a pool of water because he was beautiful and he loved it. And that actually it's unlucky to see someone's like your own reflection. So it kind of translates into an origin of the superstition being that breaking a mirror is akin to like fracturing your soul, because you are reflecting your soul in that image. It was Roman artisans who actually learned to manufacture mirrors, but they used polished metal surfaces and believed that their gods observed their souls through these devices. So again, it's a reflection of the soul, but specifically they're like the gods were looking through them.
Sometimes I wonder how many of them really believed in that. And even at that time, maybe it was kind of
like in the Romans, you think there were people who were like, "Oh, it's kind of nonsense."
Well, I think maybe the same way now there's like quote unquote old wives' tales or myths or superstitions. I think it's possible that back in 2,000 years ago, like we today look back in history and think, "Oh, they must have really believed in that shit," but really it might have just been like it was still passed down.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, I wonder how much of it is just like, oh yeah, my mom used to say that that's your soul reflected there. But it's like, I'm just fixing my hair. I'm fixing my toga. That's all I'm here for.
Yeah,
I do wonder how much of it is just kind of like I guess kind of where that belief kind of trades off. I would say like, as science becomes more popular, I think things like superstition and belief in luck kind of trade off a little bit. But I'm sure. I mean, the ancient Romans and stuff had a lot of scientific stuff. I mean, they were making mirrors out of metal. And I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah, and then you like look out the little factory where you're making the mirror, and there's like someone shitting on the street down the road. It's like, but then
I mean, you look out your window. Sometimes that happens too.
And I want to say too, like if humans went, if today us humans, you and me, Anna, and everyone we know went extinct.
Our specific, you and me specifically, humans.
Yeah, well, and everybody. And 2,000 years from now, they dug up, our history. They'd think, oh man, these people really worshipped, this Luke Skywalker guy. They must have really believed he was this great guy because I see all these posters and monuments everywhere. And, maybe there's a little of that going on, but maybe not. I'm not an expert on this. But
and I mean, like Roman gods and Greek gods and stuff, I do think is just like, it is interesting, like how much of that is like, I truly believe there's like a Zeus, or is it like, yeah, like a cultural figure that,
yes,
that's interesting.
Kind of like us with Santa Claus today.
Sure. Yeah. Just kind of like, oh, my 8-year-old still believes in Zeus. That's cute, right? That's not too late to believe in Zeus.
No, 8's fine. Yeah. But for more on Greek gods, I would point our listeners to the episode we did on the top 10 most powerful Greek gods. I meant to say earlier, you just reminded me, I don't know where you fall on this spectrum, but like you were mentioning like science and things of today making superstitions more a thing of the past. But I mean, like religion is still huge today despite the advances in science. So
yeah, and there's a lot of philosophers like Albert Einstein himself was like, you can't have one without the other. You can't have religion without science because it doesn't work. So yeah, I would kind of fall on, I guess, the middle of the spectrum, where I think there's something to be said for both the supernatural and for sciencey stuff. So
yeah, sciencey stuff. That's a very scientific way to put that.
Thank you.
But somehow we got here from talking about broken mirrors, so I apologize.
Oh, right.
Was there anything else on that?
Yeah. So like, because the gods were said to be looking through these devices at us, damaging a mirror was seen as really disrespectful to the gods, and that the gods would rain holy hellfire. They would smite you if in the form of bad luck. And this was especially unfortunate because by around the 3rd century, mirrors were being made from glass. And that's a lot easier to break than metal. So it's a little easier than it used to be to get bad luck, the 7 years of bad luck. And the 7 years thing comes from the Roman belief that the body renews itself every 7 years. So it's kind of this like comforting factor, I think, like, oh, this bad luck won't last forever, even though I've broken this mirror and offended the gods.
Well, they should see my grandma because her ass has not renewed in the last 7 years or the last 7 years.
Maybe it's renewing. It's just not the way you want it to renew.
Yeah, there's that.
A little bit of psychology here. There is a factor here of pattern recognition and confirmation bias, which will kind of break into those a little bit in different myths, superstitions. But there's like a social psychology piece at play here where we hear these things when we're kids, and often like from our parents and teachers and like trusted adults. So they ingrain in our impressionable brains when they're the most squishy and most likely to believe in stuff like magic or luck. So there's that confirmation bias where it's like, if you break a mirror, there's like that automatic thought that comes in like, oh no, that's bad luck. Even if you don't really believe it, it's where that kind of
it's like
just
a gut
cultural
reaction
thing comes in. Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Okay. So that is breaking a mirror. You got number 10.
Have you ever broken a mirror, Anna?
Probably. None have like preceded 7 years of bad luck, so I don't have the like confirmation
maybe
bias
it did,
of
and
knowing.
You just didn't really.
Maybe
pay
my life
attention.
could have been way better if I never
exactly
broke any mirrors.
Okay, so broken mirror number 10. We know you like to listen to Tennis Podcast, but now it's time to wear it. TennisPod.com/merch has all of your merch needs. We have new designs that let the world know you're a sidekick host, or that your loved one should just go ahead and unsubscribe. All these and more are available to wear on your tight little body right now. We also have designs for the licking machine, your body elves, and many others. We even have one that proves you have one hell of an ass. We have shirts available for all sexes and multiple colors available, as well as mugs, hoodies, and hats. And to help you get started, I have a special discount for you. Use promo code BUTT for 10% off your next order. That's promo code BUTT at tennispod.com/MERCH. Don't be a butt. Shop now. Okay, I don't think this is I can't imagine this is on here when like the black cat's not. But what about like throwing the salt over your shoulder thing?
That's a good one. That did come up a lot. That's actually number 12.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty up there. That spilling salt is bad luck unless you throw it over your shoulder. I think it might be a specific shoulder, left shoulder, perhaps. I don't know.
Because I think Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber throws it over the wrong shoulder. I don't remember which one is right though. Okay, so help me out here. I mean, gently guide me.
So like some of these are like practices, like things that we do, and some of them are just like ideas, like beliefs. So I mentioned blowing out candles. Blowing out candles is not on the list, but there are a couple wish related ones.
Okay, throwing a coin into a wishing well. Or maybe not a well, but a wishing a fountain. Okay, so then making a wish upon a shooting star.
Oh, there we go. Where's that one, you think?
It's got to be high. Let's go 3.
It's 2. You're very close.
Pretty
yeah,
I mean, for a list,
pretty good. You're doing pretty good.
That's pretty good.
All
right.
List I'm not looking at. We didn't ask, so that sounds really suspicious.
I'm not looking at it. So wishing upon a shooting star.
So yeah, the belief that making a wish when you see a shooting star will make your wish come true. So big that Jiminy Cricket had a whole song about it in Disney's Pinocchio.
If you wish, I won't do it. But yes, I know the song.
I was going to let you sing the whole song and let you dig that hole for yourself. But there are some interpretations that say like any star is appropriate as a focus for a wish, but like it's more commonly said as a shooting star because those are more rare and just kind of, have a special significance.
Do you know where it originates?
Sort of. Oh, okay. I mean, as with many of these, like sort of. Yeah. So nowadays we know that celestial phenomena is a little bit more, again, science-y. We know that shooting stars aren't actually stars. They're meteorites that are entering our atmosphere. But we're not here to talk about science today. No. In general, celestial bodies have always been associated with divinity and the supernatural. Like, we need to look at all of astrology to prove that. Like, we love looking at stars and we like to put a lot of importance on them.
And name stars and planets after gods and goddesses and things like that.
After gods and people and shapes that we see in them. And again, astrology is kind of the biggest one, but we've always kind of looked at the heavens as a way to predict things or, feel like we know what's going on here on Earth. Specifically, shooting stars were referenced as important as early as the 2nd century when Greek astronomer Ptolemy theorized that they were a result of the gods peering down from heaven. So he said that the gods would part the heavens to look down at the earth and that the stars would get dislodged and they would fall to the earth as a result. So if you see a shooting star, that means that the gods are looking down at you right now. So you have to make a wish to capitalize on that.
Look, I got a problem with that because shooting stars are pretty rare, relatively rare, which means if you don't see a shooting star, the gods are just never watching you. It's just free reign to do whatever the hell you want?
Well, that's only the stars that you can see, the shooting stars that you can see, I guess. I mean, I guess people aren't really thinking about that one. It's not, that's a pretty sciencey way to look at it too. But like Haley's comment, that God specifically is only looking at you like every 86 years, like just popping in. Just like,
and when it's like the same principle as that when you're a little kid, you're told you better be good, so you're on Santa's nice list, not the naughty list. But if Santa was only checking on you once every 86 years...
He's got a lot of kids to watch out for.
Well, that's true. But then you can be naughty for 85 years and then be nice for the one time he's looking at you.
Yeah, but you need to know when. It's that...
That's true.
It's Schrodinger's Santa. You don't know when he's looking at you.
That'd be the best thing you've said on the show so far.
I don't know, man. I say a lot of out-of-pocket shit. We can't narrow it down to one.
That's kind of, people think this is a show about top 10 lists, but really it's a show of just saying absurd shit.
Honestly, how far off topic can we go? How much weird stuff can we say that has nothing to do with what we're doing?
Schrodinger's Santa. Yep.
Someone should make a top 10 list of just the most non sequitur things we say.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so wishes aren't the only thing associated with shooting stars. In the 6th century, Chinese philosopher Confucius said that shooting stars were departed souls moving into the afterlife. And in some cultures, it's kind of the opposite. It's believed to be a new soul returning to Earth to be reborn.
Okay. See, those make more sense to me than a god peering in.
You think God's peering down happens more or less frequently than souls going to the afterlife?
Well, there's that point as well. So I have nothing
Maybe
to
it's
say
the
to
gods opening the heavens so the soul can come up, and that's what knocks the star down.
Well, to me, I was thinking like, okay, the shooting star, like you might see a shooting star once, I don't know how often you see a shooting star. Let's say every few years. I don't know. But that's you seeing that one. Other parts of the world are seeing stars at different times.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, but the god peering down on you is happening at that time only.
I guess. You have to be watching pretty quick. And when there's like a meteor shower, what does that mean? It means the god had to like
God's
split
crying.
Heaven open a lot, like wider than usual.
Yeah.
Is looking at us harder.
There's multiple gods.
They're all like having a little viewing party.
Yeah.
Little Earth viewing party.
Imagine that the sky is like a window with blinds, and all the shooting stars are the god pulling the blind down with the finger. Yeah, that's all the different gods.
I'll work that into my worldview. Yeah, thank you for that. Eastern Europe and Mexico, they are apparently seen as representing evil spirits that will bring bad luck to those who see them. So, and that kind of pops up in several of them too, where it's like the mirror thing, like originally it was seen as bad luck to see your own reflection, and then it was just seen as bad luck to break your reflection instead of just looking
evolves
at it.
Over time, and it just depends on the culture. It's like
it is. That's interesting. Yeah. All right, you got 10 and 2 steering wheel style.
Is there wishing upon like the eyelash thing? Right? Is there any more wishing? Oh, yeah.
There's one more wishing on the top 10, but it's not an eyelash. It's like when you see something, like perhaps if you check your phone.
1111.
Ding, ding, ding.
That's a dumb one, but okay. What do you do? You wish when you see that?
Yeah. Have you ever heard that?
It sounds kind of familiar, but I'm surprised it's more common than I'm surprised.
Like the eyelash thing?
Yeah. Or birthday wishes?
I don't know, like I don't see eyelashes enough to like wish on them. I think 1111 is more like you notice it. And I think it's again wait, let's just talk about 1111.
Okay. 1111.
So yeah, this is I guess just on like digital clocks. Is this a newer thing? I guess it has to be.
It must be, I would think.
But it's especially powerful on November 11th because it's 1111 of 1111.
Okay.
Whoa.
And then in 2011 that was extra powerful.
Dude, your wish would be supercharged. You need to if everyone wished for world peace, we would have it.
No, I'd wish to pet the black cat under the ladder.
Under a ladder while you're breaking a mirror over your knee. Yeah. Where do you think it is?
7. Because 7 rhymes with 11.
Almost nailing it. It's 8.
I knew it.
You're like right there, dude. You're super attuned to the spirit world right now, I think.
I feel like that, yeah. I get that a lot. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah. So there's an addendum where the wish is only valid when we coincidentally notice the number. It's not like you can be like watching the clock and waiting for 1111 to happen. Just if you like glance at a clock and it's 1111, then you are supposed to make a wish when you notice it. And that we can't share the wishes, which is, I think, is a common wish thing. So as with most other superstitions we'll talk about, the origin isn't super clear, but it's thought to be rooted in numerology and things like angel numbers. Have you ever heard of angel numbers?
No.
And so angel numbers are when there's like a sequence of numbers that seem significant. So it's usually made up of 3 or 4 digits, and with like repeating numbers like 777 or 333, or when the numbers are in a sequence, just 1, 2, 3, 4. In the most woo-woo sense, the sciencey way to say it, they're seen as like messages from guardian angels or from the universe. And so especially when we see 1111, it's said to be sort of like a go signal from the universe about this is a good time to set an intention for something, or in this case, make a wish that something will happen, because then that's the universe saying like, oh, this is a very connected time where like things are going to happen.
Keep going.
But on the more sciencey psychology side of things, as to why we actually view this as significant, because obviously critics highlight that there's not a huge amount of evidence that 1111 or other numbers are important. So one of the reasons that we look at this is like synchronicity, which is a concept introduced by psychologist Carl Jung, my boy. It describes events that coincide in time and appear meaningful because they do that. So like, have you ever like heard a word for like the first time and then you hear it immediately after?
Yes, all the time.
It's like synchronicity. So we see them as meaningfully related, but they probably don't actually have like a huge like connection like causally. And this is also kind of overlapping with confirmation bias, which is a psychological phenomenon where people are more likely to remember events that fit their worldview. So that kind of goes along with like the breaking the mirror thing that we were talking about, and like other things kind of on this list that are just like, we have this in our brains. So then if something happens and then we like if we break a mirror and then something bad happens to us, we're like, oh, it's because I broke a mirror.
It's because I broke the mirror, yeah.
Whereas that thing probably would have happened regardless of whether we broke the mirror, right. But we're having that confirmation bias about it.
You can attribute meaning to anything.
Yes, like, and we love to do that. Humans love to make meaning of things. So a lot of these are coming from a place of wanting to find meaning in things that happen around us that are actually probably just random chance and chaos, and we want to make them meaningful. So that's a lot of where like superstition and religion, if you're going to be that way about it, like it's just our way to kind of control the world around us.
In that explanation, you made me think of a few other number related superstitions. Are there any other numbers on the top 10?
Yeah, there's one about
13.
No.
666.
No, there is one that
23.
No.
These are all good guesses.
These are all really good guesses. Yeah, I'm actually surprised the 13-1 doesn't show up more specific than just kind of the concept of number.
But there is a number in here.
There's two that are number related. One is kind of the amount of times a thing might happen to us.
You're going to have to give me more than that. I don't know that.
So like if something bad happens to you, someone might be like, oh, well, bad news comes in.
Oh, comes in pairs. Is that the saying?
Comes in threes.
Comes in three. Whoops.
You wish you would get off so easily as it coming off in pairs.
No. Bad things come in threes.
Bad things come in threes. Where do you think that is on the list?
Okay, so that's it. Well, let's do a divisible of 3, which is 9.
I like that as a way to guess where it is. It's actually right in the middle. It's number 5.
I knew it.
I think that's your first one where you weren't like one off. Never mind. You're doing great.
Thank you.
I'm super proud of you. So this is exactly how it sounds. Bad things happen in groups of 3. So in many cultures, 3 is seen as a symbol of balance and harmony. Even in mathematics and related symbolism, things like the triangle are seen to represent stability and harmony. Like there is a whole school of philosophy around Pythagorean ideas. The triangle guy. It's his whole thing. He probably has other things. We know him as the triangle guy. In ancient Greece, like the school of philosophy around that is seeing 3 as the perfect number. And even in like a lot of religions, like Christianity, the Holy Trinity represents a divine triad. Hinduism has a trimurti, which is very similar. It's a divine triad. Even fairy tales use 3s a lot. So like 3 wishes, 3 bears, that kind of thing. Like 3 is a number that pops up a lot. 3 little pigs.
Yeah,
like
3 is a number that gives us order. I feel like.
Yeah,
like if you
that's
see
a good
2
way to
or
say it.
4 or 7 of something, but you see 3 of something, the 3 in our mind just seems, I don't know what the word is, but like better. Like it's
pattern recognition, which hopping forward to my bread and butter psychology, because that's coming up here too. Humans love patterns. We see patterns in almost everything. Like we see a thing that looks vaguely like a face and we think it's a face. So like pattern recognition is super important in recognizing like threats or trends of things that are happening around us. And there's even a saying that's like 2 is a coincidence and 3 is a pattern. So if we embrace the idea that like bad luck comes in 3s, again, it's that feeling of control thing. It gives us this like feeling of certainty and pattern recognition. And then it gives us us an out. It says like this string of bad luck that's happening will come to an end after 3. It's kind of like the 7-year thing with the breaking the mirror. It gives us some sense of like comfort and control over that idea. But
it puts an end date on it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
not a date, but
I only have to worry about it for 2 more times if something bad happened to me. Again, kind of going back to like if those three things that we were talking about are kind of more generally positive related, how did we come up with bad news coming in threes? So there are some speculative theories about it coming from things like the Crimean War, actually, where soldiers were warned against lighting 3 cigarettes from the same match to avoid being spotted by the enemy.
Okay.
It's specifically associated with death often. Deaths are said to come in threes, and there is the idea that 3 knocks in the room of a dying person is a harbinger of death, which I'm laughing. That's a terrible thing to laugh about. But like, as I was reading this, I'd be like, okay, listen, this is confirmation bias again. Because if you're in a room with a dying person, isn't anything a harbinger of death? Any amount of knocks.
Well, first of all, why is anybody knocking, period? Like,
Yeah,
why are
that's a great
people knocking
question,
on
too.
doors?
Who's knocking?
Well, maybe it's a
Is it
knock
death?
hit.
Is it? He's like, are you guys done in here? Can I grab this dude? Or
The Grim Reaper you're saying is like knocking to see if he can come in. That's funny.
Are you guys done with your goodbyes? I don't want to be rude. Grim Reaper, famously mannerly.
Yeah.
God, I got so many more souls to get. Can you guys hurry this along?
That's when the shooting stars start flying. All right. Bringing it all back.
It's all tied together.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Well, I don't know, because most of what you went through was like, here's why it's a good thing.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Again, I think it comes back to pattern recognition. I think it's more just like people, because again, it's often said like when someone is having some things like bad luck or deaths in their family or whatever, it's like it happens in threes. It's this like, don't worry, it'll be over soon. You just have to lose one more person in your family and then you don't have to worry about it.
You mentioned people dying. You mentioned family dying. Made me think of this. This seems like a stretch, but I'll say it. Step on a crack and break your mother's back.
Oh, man. Not in the top 10, but one of my favorite superstitions.
It's classic, right?
I'll tell you why. It's because I have OCD. And because when I was a kid, I fixated on that. And I would not step on cracks because I didn't want to hurt my beloved mother.
Bonnie needs her back.
And she had back problems for like a lot of my life.
And you're like, it's me. I just stepped on too many cracks.
Stepped on too many cracks. So I would like be very careful about not stepping on any cracks. It's not in the top 10. It's number 18, but it's in my top 10, my personal top 10, perhaps my top 3.
Poor Bonnie.
It's my fault.
Bonnie
I did it. I'm so sorry, Mom. Yeah.
Maybe her back hurts just from carrying you through that podcast for all those 100 episodes.
Yeah, that one's true. That was true.
I had to get it in. Okay, so
nothing with animals. There's a plant, and that's number related.
Is it a flower?
No. It's
dandelion. Like blowing a dandelion? Isn't that a wish thing, though?
It is sort of a wish thing.
I don't know.
Again, is that like a superstition, or is that just like a thing that kids say on the playground? It's very weird to know where that starts and ends.
Yeah, where's the defining...
this is like if you're looking at a little patch of grass and you find a specifically numbered thing, it'll give you good luck.
Oh, a 4-leaf clover. Okay.
Where's that?
Just to be cute, I'd like to say number 4, but I'm not going to say that.
Are you not?
No, you're trying to trick me, and I'm not going to fall into it. So I'm going to go number 6.
It was number 3. You were closer with 4.
Oh.
You should have gone with your gut. Be cute, Nick. Always be cute.
But do people really believe
ABC.
the 4-leaf clover?
Again, yeah, that's one of those things that, like, I think it's hard to know. I can't be in the brains of all these people that are voting on this list. It's hard to know if it's like I'm upvoting this or whatever because I believe it or because it's just ingrained in the cultural consciousness as like a thing. Because especially 4-leaf clovers are not even like the act of finding a 4-leaf clover, but just like 4-leaf clovers as a symbol are really big because as we know, maybe not, most clovers have 3 leaves. 2017 survey of almost 6 million clovers, which that's a great idea for a survey.
No, it's not, Anna. It's fucking not a great idea.
It's great. This is science. We're talking about science. So
it's a complete waste of time.
6 million clovers in 6 European countries found the frequency of 4-leaf clovers to be 5,000 to 1.
That's way less than I thought.
Really?
Well, like they're more rare than I thought that they were.
That's why they're so lucky.
Who's funding this survey? Because I want to talk to that guy. Like
Big Clover.
We should be curing cancer. We should be like curing Alzheimer's.
People who have an interest in clovers are going to be curing cancer. I think it's not a lot of crossover in the discipline.
Look, I'm putting it all on the scientific community. They need to allocate their scientists better. We don't need any more clover research.
Cloverologists. I think we're good.
Yeah.
So those are 4-leaf clovers, but clovers go up more than that. You can have more leaves. So there's 5-leaf clovers, and those are about 24,000 to 1. And there's 6-leaf clovers, which are about 312,000 to 1.
What about a 7-leaf clover?
Do you want to guess how many leaves, like the clover with the most leaves ever, how many leaves do you think were on it? There was some crossbreeding happening. I'll give you a hint.
Crossbreeding.
Like they were specifically trying to make a clover with a bunch of leaves.
I don't know. 100 leaf clover.
That's closer than 13. It's 63.
Okay, wow.
A 60. I can't even imagine what a 63 leaf clover looks like.
You
That's
would have
too many.
so much fucking good luck.
You don't have to worry about if you break a mirror. If you break 10 mirrors, that's like negated.
You got at least 60. You got to break 63 mirrors to even have a chance of canceling out that bad luck or good luck.
Target by 60 mirrors, and someone's like, "What happened?" You're like, "I found a 63 leaf clover, and I need to bring balance to the universe."
They're like, "Say no more." I understand.
Like, oh, again? Okay. So, okay, enough clover stats. Let's talk about the superstition.
Turning into the guys doing the survey.
Right, this is science. We're doing science right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, as with most, it's unclear when or how this idea began. An early mention of 4-leaf clovers or purple grass is from 1640 because it's good for the purples in children or others, and the purples being purpura, which is red or purple discolored spots on the skin that could be signifiers of lots of medical conditions like typhus or meningitis. Not a Wikipedia article that I loved stumbling across, let me tell you. Not fun to see pictures of that. A description from 1869 says that 4-leaf clovers were gathered at nighttime during the full moon by sorceresses who mixed it with vervain and other ingredients, while young girls in search of a token of perfect happiness made quest of the plant by day. So that sounds fun.
I mean, I guess I had nothing better to do in 1869, but
yeah, listen. It's before TikTok. It's before any of that stuff.
yeah,
Might as
it's
well
either that or fucking like milk a cow.
mix my brews with my little
I do love that
plants.
it's a sorceress, yeah. It reminds me at the very beginning of the episode when you were talking about what a superstition is, and you were like, you could be dumb, you could be this or that, or you could
believe in magic, you could be a sorceress.
Yeah,
they probably believe in lots of superstitions.
Probably.
An 1877 letter to St. Nicholas magazine had an 11-year-old girl writing, "Did the fairies ever whisper in your ear that a 4-leaf clover brought good luck to the finder?" So that seems a pretty direct, good luck 4-leaf clover. That's kind of one of our earliest references to it. Inversely, some traditions say that 4-leaf clovers grant the power to see fairies. So maybe the fairies gave them to us so we could see them.
What culture do fairies come from? Or is that kind of a multicultural?
I think it's kind of multicultural. There's a lot of fairies in Celtic mythology and stuff. So
well, that's where I was going, because I think because 4-leaf clover is very much associated with the Irish.
Yes. And so often, so I mentioned the kind of it being a logo just for a lot of things. It's used in a lot of logos and stuff. Like SpaceX has them on mission patches because their first successful Falcon 1 launch had one on its patch. So now I think that's kind of a superstition on a superstition. It's like, oh, that's that confirmation bias thing. It's like, oh, that made it work. We have to include them on every patch
they're
now.
afraid to, the one time they don't do it, they don't want to know if it worked or
exactly.
not. So
let's not try it. Try our luck here.
No, we're not testing it.
4-H uses a clover with an H on each leaf, and often companies do use it to signify a Celtic origin for the company. So it is linked very heavily. Clovers themselves are linked to Irish mythology because it was said that St. Patrick used a clover to talk about the Holy Trinity. So Father, Son, Holy Spirit, but it's all one plant. Wow, look at that. So it is linked very heavily to Irish mythology and stuff.
And I wondered if the fairies tied into that. It sounds like it might.
Yeah,
because
I think it's
fairies,
a lot of crossover.
they all could have. Yeah. I
mean, it's that thing where religious tradition often builds on pagan tradition. So
yes, we did a whole episode on that too. What was it called? The holidays with the modern holidays with the oldest origins, and you find that even Christmas, Easter, all these modern, mostly Christian holidays.
Yeah, when we celebrate things
right.
There's no way Jesus was born on December 25th,
right.
But hey, winter solstice, baby.
Exactly. But
All right, you
hell.
got half the list already.
Yeah,
Look
why
at
don't
how you're
we
flying through it.
recap what we have so far?
All right, so far, starting from the bottom, you have number 10, breaking a mirror. Number 8, making a wish at 11:11. Number 5, bad news coming in threes. Number 3, four-leaf clovers. And number 2, wishing on a star. So you still need that number 1. Then you got a couple kind of toward the lower.
So I've been hanging on to this one, but I'll say it now. The saying bless you after someone sneezes, is that...
Where do you think it is?
It'd be such a boring number 1, but it might be.
Close, it's 6. It is kind of middle ground. And yeah, more formally, it used to be saying God bless you, but then those filthy liberals have taken the Christ out of everything. So
They do.
Can't even have God bless you anymore.
May Lucifer smile upon you.
That's the satanic temple's blessing after you sneeze. I sneeze a lot. I'm a sneezy girl, so I hear this one a lot. It's gotten to the point where I have to be like, please don't bless me anymore. I am blessed enough. I'm good. I'm good for a while.
That's like you have the bless you equivalent of finding a 63-leaf clover.
Exactly.
So much good luck and blessings.
I'm so holy right now, and I need you to not tell me this anymore. This one's pretty specifically in English-speaking countries. In non-English-speaking countries, things still get said, like usually just kind of expressing good health or long life. Some mention God. One common substitution, even in English-speaking countries, is the German word Gesundheit, which does not mean bless you. What do you think Gesundheit means?
That's a hell of a question.
It just means health. It just means it's like good, saying good health. Yeah, that's exactly that. You can just start saying that. Again, your kids would be unfazed.
Unfazed, can promise you.
This was apparently started when there was a big influx of German immigrants to America. So again, I think it's kind of one of those things that again, maybe some of those hippies who don't want to say bless you and give God the credit, just say Gesundheit. But yeah, the question is, how did this become so widespread? Because again, this is one of those things like we were talking about, like people who say bless you probably aren't even necessarily religious or anything like that. It's just kind of
just a reaction.
Thing. Yeah, it's just a thing we say when someone sneezes. Another suggested origin, people used to believe a lot of weird things about sneezes. So they used to believe that a person's soul could be thrown out of their body when they sneezed.
Of course.
Or that sneezing opened the body to invasion by devils or evil spirits.
Wow.
Or that sneezing was the body's attempt to evict an evil spirit that was already invading it.
Where the fuck do people come up with this shit? Like, seriously.
Several things in the process of being possessed by a person involves sneezing. Or
it's just your nose being fucking tickled by some shit, and you gotta sneeze.
Get that science shit out of here. There's evil spirits.
I just don't get where it originated. Like, someone somewhere had to be like...
I think that, this is my, totally pulling it out of my ass. I think it's because sneezing is, even before we recognized it as, a thing related to sickness, that it's related to a sickness. You're not feeling good when you sneeze. And I think, again, there's that, especially before science was big, there's that, if something bad is happening to your health, it's related to an evil spirit. Or the devil is making you sick. So again, I think it's this kind of that must be possessed, probably, I guess.
Because back in very old times, sickness was tied very much so to you either did something wrong and God's punishing you, or sin, or a demon is in you. You got demons in your blood.
Demons in your blood. Do cocaine about it. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, man. So.
But yeah, because of this, saying bless you was a shield against evil in these cases, or to stop the devil from your expelled soul or jumping into your body or whatever the devil was planning on doing. The devil's always around. He's like Santa.
Unlike Schrodinger's Santa, we don't need Schrodinger's Satan because we know he's there at all times.
Whoa, maybe they're the same person. Have we ever seen them in the same room at the same time?
Their names, are very close.
Could it be Satan?
But, if these people that believe you're sneezing and you can let demons in that way, wouldn't the fact that the person is fine after the sneeze, you know what I mean? Unless they start convulsing and having a seizure.
Only slightly more sciencey, very slightly. In the past, some people might have thought that the heart stops beating during a sneeze, which I think is kind of a common urban legend thing.
I've heard that, yeah.
It is incorrect. It does not. But the phrase, saying God bless you was kind of said to encourage the heart to continue beating or congratulating you on its continued beating. when you kept living after you sneezed, I suppose.
No, see that I get. That I get.
That one tracks. That one's good.
I can connect the dots there.
Yeah.
But like, that's easier to connect those dots than to do like the devil thing.
Than like an evil spirits here.
Yeah, when we explained like the sickness, it made a little more sense.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
more, like,
even in researching, it wasn't super clear what, like, I can see like, oh, a little bit of the soul comes out, like, right? Like when you sneeze, there's that like puff of mist. But like, I don't really know how it works. Like, oh, that opens you up to possession. I don't get where that connects.
It's because you are not godly enough, Anna.
I am already possessed, and the demon inside me is like, that. It's nonsense. Don't worry about it.
Literally the devil on your shoulder.
The devil that lives in my shoulder because I sneeze so much is like, they're just weird superstitions. It's fine.
Speaking of weird superstitions, should I give you another guess?
Yeah, give me a guess. Hit me. There's something about a thing that we use for the rain.
Umbrella. Don't open an umbrella indoors.
Ding, ding, ding. Where's that one?
7.
Close. 9. So it is down there. Yeah, you shouldn't open an umbrella inside because it's bad luck, don't you know? A modern iteration of this superstition probably stems from the 19th century, the Victorian era. Umbrellas, as we know them today, were invented around that time by a man named Samuel Fox. The design was a lot like what we have today, but early umbrellas were like really unwieldy. They were sometimes dangerous to handle because the frames were made of like hard metal. Like, and I think it's like, even remembering umbrellas of like my childhood, they were much like pointier and more dangerous. So I can only imagine Victorian era umbrellas.
A lot of people lost an eye from umbrellas. And
that is where this comes from, is like, if you open it inside, there's no in between. It's not like one of those like kind of opens in stages ones that we have now. It's like, it is compressed or it is sprung out. So the superstition was probably related to safety, where it's like avoiding opening umbrellas inside, because if you're in like an indoor enclosed space and you like open your umbrella, you're going to poke someone's eye out. You're going to knock over someone's heirloom family vase, and it's going to be a faux pas in every sense of the word. So yeah, it's this like, oh, this thing happened and something bad happened as a result of it. So that must mean that doing this thing is bad luck.
It's easy to take that next step.
Yeah, I think this one's probably one of the easiest to be like, I can see where they would get the like, that's bad luck. Don't do that.
And while you were talking, I was curious because you mentioned the modern umbrella by this guy, Samuel Fox. The first umbrella was made 4,000 years ago. But of course, they were like, nothing like modern umbrellas.
Well, you're getting ahead of me, Nick.
I'm sorry.
Why are you on my notes? Get off my notes. Get off.
I can't help it. Hashtag Nick's notes.
Reading. No. Hashtag Anna's notes. Hashtag annotations.
Oh. I was thinking than Anna's notes, and then there it was.
You can't use that one.
Very good.
Thank you. But yeah, this myth might go back even further. So some people think that the origins of the umbrella date back to the ancient Egyptians, because they had umbrellas made of papyrus and peacock feathers, which dope. That sounds dope.
That sounds way better than what we got.
Great. So it was really pretty. They weren't really what we have now. They weren't for like rain. They were for like they were more like parasols. So they were like to protect people from the sun instead of from the rain, because it's Egypt and stuff. But opening them inside was considered bad practice because the sun's rays aren't inside, and opening an umbrella indoors could be seen as disrespectful to the sun god. So again, just disrespecting gods all over here.
That the whole episode is that.
So we are disrespecting gods whenever we like record a Tennish podcast episode. So it was considered bad luck for also non-royals to use umbrellas, because umbrellas were designed to mimic the goddess who formed the sky, and thus their shade was considered sacred. So anyone who was not a royal using an umbrella was kind of bad luck itself.
Well, and back in the old times, umbrellas were handled by, I guess,
like servants,
enslaved people, servants that were, what do you call that?
Fanning
the pharaoh or whatever the fuck, yeah.
Speaking of disrespecting things, another idea says that opening an umbrella indoors will upset a home's spirits. So like, homes have spirits. Don't you know that? Don't you have spirits in your home? Yeah, they're like guardians who are like protective of the home. They're not like ghosts. They're not like a ghost that's haunting. It's like, they like, I guess, really hate umbrellas though. So they will cause misfortune to rain down upon you if an umbrella is opened in their presence.
It's like the reactions. The reactions of spirits and gods in ancient time was always so severe. It's like you open an umbrella and
you guys just chill? Just chill a little bit?
Yes, that's all I'm asking for.
There's even like variations of this where you can't bring like a black umbrella into a home at all.
You just gave me another guess. Okay, but yes, they love to overreact. They're very sensitive gods.
Gods and spirits and such, they're snowflakes. Listen, gods these days are snowflakes.
Listener, they call me Dr. Buster for a reason. It's because I have a PhD in both podcasting and in psychology and in whooping Nick's ass up and down every 10-ish list. I love to read books dealing with psychology as part of my profession and keeping up with the cutting edge in the field. That's why I've launched a new mini podcast called The Book Buster. That podcast is where I provide quick reviews of the latest psychology and self-help books, just like The Moral Landscape by Sam Harris or Dopamine Nation by Anna Lemke. Each episode provides a review in less than 10 minutes, and I share what I'll be checking out next so that you, listener, can get involved and read that book and experience it before I cover it on the next episode. I hope you'll check it out, and who knows, you might just find your next great read. The Book Buster releases on the third Friday of every month exclusively for 10ish Pod Plus members. Go to 10ishpod, that's 10ishpod.com/plus to get a free 7-day trial. They told me there was nothing free in this life. They were lying.
Okay, so you have 3 left. There's 2 that are like specific things that you do to like bring good luck upon yourself, and the third is just specifically like luck related, but it's like more of an idea. It's not like a practice. You say a thing that might happen, but it might be bad, and then you're like, oh, I need to do this thing to ward off this bad thing that I said.
Knock on wood.
Where do you think that is? It's number 1, baby.
I didn't think you'd give me number 1, so
sorry.
Knock on wood. Well, that, you know what? I'm not surprised that's number 1, because I hear that probably every day of my life. Someone says that.
and this is one of those things that like I'm not surprised it's number 1 either, because like this is a thing that I do that I don't believe it actually does anything, but I'll do it as like a compulsion thing. Like when I say something, I'll knock on wood. But yeah, this is the practice of touching, tapping, or knocking on the nearest wood surface after you say something. This is interesting. It can be either after you say something positive, or it can be after saying something negative, like something unfavorable that might happen, as a way to avoid tempting fate. So like if you say that something good is going to happen, you're going to knock on wood to like not make it so, oh, I said it, so now the gods are going to be upset, or they're not going to let it happen. But yeah, it can be kind of either or, which
to me defeats the whole point. Like if it can be either one, then what?
You just knock on wood all the damn time.
Then just don't do it. Let's like, aren't you covered either way in that case?
I guess it's like again, it's kind of one of those like ways to take control of things. But like when we say something, we don't want to, I guess, invoke the ire of the universe by like, oh, I'm saying something that might happen, so I don't want to seem too presumptuous here.
So you knock on wood, Anna? Sounds like
I do. Like just as kind of like when I say something, like if I'm talking to a client or something, I'll just kind of like, if I say something that might happen, I'll be like, oh, knock on wood. And I'll kind of like lean over, knock on my table, do a cute little bit.
It's like a whole routine, huh? In your
performance.
A whole thing. Yeah. In your performance of counseling, it's part of your script.
One of the little things I have written in my notebook, like if you say anything, knock on wood. Wikipedia calls this apotropaic tradition, which is a very fun word, but that basically means protection magic. So again, we're back to this, like, it is a thing to ward off evil. So it's like a protection ritual that we do, even though when most people do it, it's because it's just a thing that you do in culture. And it does show up in a lot of different cultures. Sometimes it's referred to as touch wood in Britain or 3 times wood in Germany. So again, there's that like number component to it where you like knock like a certain number of times, and usually it is 3. In Italy, they say touch iron, especially after seeing something related to death.
No, I like that one better.
That seems more like protective, right?
Less splinters too when you're knocking.
Yeah. You're just knocking on just unsanded wood. My unsanded wood block that I keep
I'm
next
knocking like on a wooden picket fence outside or whatever.
Yeah. Latin America, this is kind of related actually, has knocking on wood as a practice, but there's a variant where the thing you knock on can't have feet. So it rules out like chairs and tables and beds.
What?
What else is it? Like, if you have a wooden leg, you can't knock on that. Like, I guess like a door frame
So
or like
pirate's out of luck.
a dresser. A
Knocking
peg
on his peg leg.
Knock on your peg leg. Oh, that doesn't have a foot. They're just pegs.
That's
That
true.
would count.
What,
Or the ship itself. The pirate is on a wooden ship.
That's
usually.
true. That's true. But
They're
in a modern home, what wood is around that doesn't have feet on it?
Like I would say, like a door frame or like a maybe a dresser of some sort. But those usually have some kind of feet on them. I don't know how strict this is.
Well, I got news for you. It doesn't fucking do anything, so it doesn't matter.
You need to know, or else I will have bad luck. This is very important. But it has been part of common speech since at least the 19th century. Like before that, the origins are a little bit less clear. If we look way back at ancient pagan cultures, trees and wood have a lot of significance, like mystical significance. There's widespread beliefs that spirits and gods resided in trees. And this is, again, kind of back to Celtic tradition. There's a lot of like, fairies being in like nature and stuff. So knocking on wood was said to rouse the spirits within the tree to call on their protection or to chase away evil spirits and keep them from listening in, which again, that could go both ways thing. And Christians link it to the wood of the cross from Christ's crucifixion because Christians tend to steal stuff from pagan cultures and say it was ours the whole time. Actually, we
almost
made that up.
The entire religion, one might say.
Most of it. Yes.
But when you're knocking on these trees to wake up the gods in there for their protection, you think they'd be pissed off, honestly.
Yeah, like that's a good point. Why do you want to wake them up?
All right. So we got to keep knocking on that wood. Help me out. I need 7 and 4.
Yes. So there's one that's like you do something like if someone is telling you something that they like would like to happen, you're like, I'm gonna do this for you to like send them luck. Or it's weirdly enough also sometimes associated with lying. You do it with your hands.
Do it with your hands.
Fingies.
Oh, crossing your fingers. Crossing
your fingers.
Okay. I'm sure you're going to tell me about it, but the only context I think of for crossing fingers is...
Well, yeah, that is kind of associated with it, but like more often, I think, hear it as like, it's a gesture to bring luck. Like there is...
I guess that's true, now that you say that.
Yeah, like, crossing my fingers for you that your job interview goes well or whatever.
Yep. Fingers crossed. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's
like there is an alternate version again, which is like what we just talked about, where it's like it can be both. Then what are we doing here? What are we
exactly?
But like when like there's that kind of like you tell a white lie and you cross your fingers behind your back, because I don't really know why. I didn't look into that a whole lot, to be honest. But like it's supposed to like invalidate what you're saying. Like it's okay that I'm lying because I'm crossing my fingers.
Right. I'm not actually saying I'm going to do this because my fingers are crossed. Is this number 4?
It is number 4. Like most of the others on this list, the origin's kind of disputed. Unlike some of the others that we've talked about, this one might actually originate in Christian tradition.
Okay.
Because it's said to resemble the cross of Christ. So when you cross your like middle finger over your index finger, it's kind of making a cross shape. It's crossing your fingers. And it's said to invoke the power of the cross and ward off evils and ill health. I don't know how true that is, but like there's nothing that hugely points to that. Because it's also like, it's deeply ingrained in the culture of like the United Kingdom and parts of Scandinavia. And it's not actually super common across mainland Europe, which you would think if it was kind of Christian related. And one of the earliest actual references to the practice isn't found until 1912, where it's linked to...
Damn.
Yeah, I know. That's like later than the ones we've been talking about.
Yeah, that's by far the most recent.
But this is linked to the act of walking under a ladder. So you have to like cross your fingers after you walk under a ladder to ward off the bad luck that you would get from that. In Vietnam, the gesture is considered rude, especially when done to another person. So it's like doing a rude hand gesture at someone. Like, again, it's very unclear where this one comes from. And I think the best guess is that, like, because we call it crossing your fingers, it might be related to Christianity. But I would think it would be bigger in Europe if it were.
Yeah, but also the act of crossing fingers. Like, don't you think humans would have figured that out? Like before
Probably.
the 1900s.
Probably.
Imagine if you were a superstitious person in real life. How exhausting it would be to follow all
To
these.
do all of these?
Yes.
I know.
And because you were mentioning that when you walk under a ladder, you'd cross your fingers to cancel out the bad luck. So you're constantly throughout the day canceling out good and bad
You're just
luck.
constantly on high alert.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like when I mentioned the like stepping on a crack thing, that was exhausting, and I was just focusing on one. Like, it's not like I was like superstitious in all the other ways. It was like that one I like fixated on for some reason, and that was tiring. Whenever I walked down the sidewalk, I had to be very conscious of my feet.
Well, how do you think Bonnie felt when she had to live with back pain?
When she broke her back all the time?
Yeah.
She didn't, because I was never stepping on cracks, because I was very conscious about.
I don't know. You said she had some back pain.
Yeah, it was before anyone told me that I was to blame.
Before they smartened you up that you're killing mom slowly every time you step on
Once
one of those
I found
cracks.
out, I was like, oh no! My fault.
All right, so I just need number 7.
7. So this is more of I would say, like, the broadest. It's like an idea instead of like a thing that you do. But it's like when it's a type of luck.
Type of luck. Well, there's good luck, there's bad luck.
There's a luck that you do when you're I can't say it without just giving you a synonym of what it is. But like, if you're starting something that you haven't tried a lot before and you win at it, people are going to attribute it to this.
Beginner's luck.
Beginner's luck.
Oh, so that's it? That's the
That's
thing?
the whole concept, yes.
I don't know about that
Number
one.
7, I know. So yeah, this is the supposed phenomenon of a novice at something experiencing notable success, especially against like an expert in a given activity, or it's the belief that someone is more likely to win the first time that they do something. And this is often used in the context of sports or gambling, but it extends to others, like including things where like no skill is needed, like winning a slot machine on your first time. That I think is easily attributed to like something like beginner's luck, because it is very luck based.
Yeah, this one is interesting because I'd have to go back. I believe this is the only one we've covered where you're not doing something to make something happen, right? Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it is. And
maybe bad news coming in 3s.
Yeah,
but but again, like, you're finding 4-leaf clovers, you're breaking mirrors, you're opening umbrellas inside. It's like things that we have more control over. This is a thing that is used to explain, which I think fits the common theme. Like, it gives us a little bit more of a sense of control, just in that we can attribute this thing happening to something. But other than that, yeah, it's the most vague, I think, of the ones that we've talked about.
Yeah, but I think there's something to it. Like, I don't believe in luck. I don't know if anyone's figured that out by now on this episode. But I don't believe in luck. but I do believe in, well, like, it's hard to say it without using the word luck.
Okay, so one of my personal beliefs about this concept is that, like, there's less pressure when you're a novice at something. Like, I saw mention of, like, in kind of just researching beginner's luck, like, poker was brought up, like, oh, a person who's never played poker before, like, plays and wins against a table of people who, like, play poker all the time. So you go into a poker game, you have no idea how to play, and you kind of just wing it, and boom, you win. And that's not likely. So again, there's that kind of the confirmation bias idea, where it's like, if someone wins against a table of experienced players when they're a novice, that's notable. So you're going to remember it better. So you're going to like attribute it to beginner's luck a little bit more. But also, you're just like less likely to overthink, or you're not psyching yourself out about it, or the more experienced players at the table are going to be using a lot of like strategy and feeling more pressure because, like, oh, I'm better at it, I know what I'm doing. Whereas the novice is just like, I don't know, all in, whatever. And then, you know, kind of like,
they're underestimating you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all that combination of things. I'm with you. I think like there's a lot of ways to explain it besides like the true definition of luck. I don't know if it belongs
and I mean, I think
on
when
here.
like talking about slot machines and stuff, like, actually how slot machines are made, I think, is incentivizing people. So if it can tell somehow, like if a machine hasn't been used for a bit and then you play it and you win on your first time, that's probably programmed into the slot machine, so you will keep playing the slot machine.
Anna, you don't know how close to the bone you're getting here on
I'm
my
chomping into the
gambling
bone.
experience.
Oh no! This is how they keep you
a lot of money
in.
on slots over the years because
Listen, that's how they hook you.
it has an illness.
You're talking to someone who has lost thousands of dollars at the slots. Okay.
I do not have good luck at the casino. But
dude, I don't really believe in luck kind of stuff either, but that's why I don't fuck with casino slots. It's way too chaotic. It's like none of these are skill based. And if I'm going to lose at something, I want it to be because I'm bad at it, not because like it's random chance.
But what's not random chance, Anna, is that I nailed this list perfectly with no wrong guesses.
You did. Do you want to hear about the origin of beginner's luck?
Oh, I forgot we didn't do that. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. It is a bit harder to talk about the origins because it's kind of an idea rather than a practice. But one perspective comes from Paulo Coelho's famous novel, The Alchemist. And this is actually like one of my favorite books. So I did want to talk about it. Coelho suggests that beginner's luck is the universe's way of affirming our decision to step into uncharted territory. It's kind of a signpost that shows we're on the right path. But then he says that the journey gets harder from there because the universe is kind of pushing us to rely on our skill or our resilience. So they make it easy at first, and then it becomes harder because we have to actually get better at it. And then another reason is, again, confirmation bias, where this is like going into something with the notion that, hey, I'm new at this, so if I win, it's beginner's luck. You're more likely to remember it as that if you do happen to win. And it's also easily memorable because it does seem counterintuitive. So it kind of creates this like confirmation bias feedback loop.
Yeah. The thing you said about the universe's way of when you're trying something new, it's easy and it becomes harder over time. It reminds me of the slot machine analogy, honestly.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, because like it gets you in the door with the if you win the first few spins, and then after that it becomes harder. Now it differs because there's no skill involved.
Right.
But
I think that is one of those things, like even I think people going into a casino think that there is skill, and they overestimate the amount of skill involved. They're like, no, I know how to play slot machines. I know how to win. I know how to do it.
You got to play it the right way. You got to choose right slot. You got to wait.
You got to pull the lever a certain way. You got to wait. You got to like time it. Yeah, there's like things that we again tell ourselves to make us feel more in control.
I think the most superstitious people in at least America are the people inside casinos, because they all have those weird little traditions, including
I would say sports fans are very superstitious.
Too. Yeah, like they wear a certain shirt or jersey on game day, and if they
underwear.
Don't, that's why the team
This is
lost,
my winning underwear.
You too, huh? But yeah, sports and gambling is very there's a lot of superstitious people, and that probably wouldn't even think of themselves as superstitious until someone points it out to them.
And again, I think it's because those things, like being a spectator in a sport or going to a casino, there is very little control that we have over that. So it's like a thing that we attribute to, this is giving me more control over this experience. All right, what were you saying about nailing the list? Because you did great.
I did great, knock on wood. That
beginner's luck, I would say.
Beginner's luck. But bad things come in 10-ish. And I'd like you to go back through these 10 things before you give me 7 years of bad luck.
Yeah, this episode is going to give us 7 years of bad luck. What else we'll give you is number 10, breaking a mirror. Number 9, opening an umbrella inside will give you bad luck. Number 8, making a wish at 11:11. Number 7, beginner's luck. Number 6, saying bless you after a sneeze. Number 5, bad news coming in threes. Number 4, crossing your fingers will give you good luck. Or will allow you to tell a lie, which I guess is good luck too. Number 3, finding a 4-leaf clover is good luck. Number 2, wishing on a star. And number 1, knocking on wood. That is the top 10 most commonly believed, or at least kind of most in the cultural consciousness, superstitions.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to say it. And I think in my personal life, the things I come across most or hear most often, I think knock on wood belongs at number 1. And I would put God bless you at number 2. But I will say, like, 4-leaf clover is just everywhere all the time.
Well, I think, like the concept of a 4-leaf clover. And I think like wishing on a star, I am actually surprised that's as high as it is. I think it's just because it is something that is very rare. But I think we say, like, doing bless you as a more common one is just because you are more likely to encounter a sneeze than a shooting star.
Yeah. Well, we know you are.
I certainly am.
Yes, you sneezy.
If there were as many shooting stars as there were sneezes in a day for me, the world would be a cratered mess.
Could wish for...
I could wish to stop sneezing as much. Maybe.
Well, do that one first.
Okay. I need to wish for world peace and then to stop sneezing.
Yeah. Maybe $1 million or $1 trillion. Yeah. Well, Anna, you're a counselor, right?
I am.
These episodes, when I bring you on here, you don't really realize it, I don't think, but this is therapy for me. And so I want to know...
It's good for your mental health.
Do you take my insurance? Do you need to bill me? Like, what's the deal?
You can't afford me, bud. This is a problem.
Okay.
We've racked up quite a bill. I've been on here a few times.
That's true. Okay. Well,
we're in the thousands. You're going to have to hit the slot machines pretty hard.
Well, hopefully I'll have some beginner's luck. Yeah. Well, Anna, I sincerely appreciate you being here. I thought this list was a ton of fun. So thanks again.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun, and can't wait till next time. Everyone, go knock on as many wooden things as you can find, but if they have legs on them, the gods will smite you because they are famously upset about everything.
Yes, they are they are upset about everything, and they're pissed off at all times.
Eyes everywhere. Look over your shoulder at all times because the gods can be upset about anything you do.
And everything you don't do as well.
Most of the things you don't do, yes.
Yeah. And listener, I'd like to thank you for listening, and I would welcome your feedback on this episode. You can leave us a review on your podcast app, whether that's Apple or Spotify, or you can hit me up on social media. Let me know your favorite or least favorite superstition. You can follow me at TennisPod.
Thank you. Bye.